Today, we're going to go over one event that many people, especially the free-to-players, dread on trying to go into, and it is the good old Mightiest Governor Event, because this one event, as many people know, is where people are made, right? This is where men become men and boys kind of cower in fear, because you are technically competing against everyone in your empire, you know, in order to receive the reward of unlocking one of the Mightiest Governor Event exclusive heroes, and they are exclusive only to the Mightiest Governor Event. But the thing is, many of you guys feel like you're not able to do this, right? You're not able to do this because of certain situations. Well, guess what? I'm going to try my best to give you advice, tips and tricks, and basically preparation in order to do this. And especially if you're new to the game, I'm going to help you guys out, because I think the newer players can definitely take advantage knowing what the Mightiest Governor Event looks like now compared to what it looks like to them in their current season. So smash a like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to support the channel, check out Top Up Live down in the link in the description below. And also check out my Kick stream in the links down below. I'm live streaming on Kick now. Yes, Kick and YouTube. We're going 2 for 2, and it's been quite fun on there. So check it out for extra support. But Mightiest Governor Event, how do you do this? Well, as a free-to-play, as a low spender, there is some outside elements outside of that I can't control, but I'm going to break down in a moment. But there's 2 methods that you can go down. There's the all-in method, or there's the staggered method. That's it, right? There's the all-in, or there's the stagger. The all-in is exactly what it says. You're going to all-in order to get at least a top 25 or higher position in Mightiest Governor Event. By all-in, you're going to be going as hard as possible with the right preparation that you've gone for in order to obviously achieve the points that you're going to need. The thing is, by going all-in, you're trying to go once and once only to unlock your hero. This is a high-risk, high-reward strat, but does have a little bit of a backup plan, because if you fail, you obviously get 5 medals instead, but your aim is to get 10. Now, the staggered method, as you guessed it, is the opposite. The staggered method is trying to get in the top 50 to top 26. And instead of going all in, you're trying to stagger your resources, your speed ups across 2 of these events, because it only takes 2 of these events in order to actually unlock a Mightiest Governor Event hero, because you're able to get 5 of these medals, and depending on obviously where you get placed in here, you're going to get 20 to 25 extra sculptures for other heroes that we're going to discuss in a future. The cool thing about the staggered method is you're not going to be trying to go all in, so you are going to be using the tips and tricks of this video to your advantage, but you're not going to be using everything, because if you use everything, guess what? If you lose, you're kind of at square one and you need to rebuild everything up. That's kind of where, as you can imagine, the all-in strategy is a bit risky, because if you go all in on a Mightiest Governor and you don't get the 10 unlock and you get the 5 unlock, you might need to wait a few months again in order to build up what you've just built up to go again in order to do that, right? Which is kind of a bit of a bummer. So it's up to you which way you go. I'm going to be honest, I think either method is fine. I actually think obviously the staggered method is safer, because obviously you're not committing all your resources in one go, and then you can obviously stagger it on like the 2nd and 3rd wave, or in future waves again, maybe when there is a Mightiest Governor Event that's not popular, which I'm going to talk about in the next moment, right? So now we know there's the 2 methods. What would be the requirements, right? And this is the big one. So when it comes to resources, it honestly does depend, and this is one thing I need to make clear here. Your resources and speed up depend on the era or empire you're in. I can't be as clear as that. Depending on what era and empire you're in, your speed ups and resources are gonna matter, because you could be in a super competitive era like me in era 11 or 10 or 88, right? You got the 17s, the 13s, the 91s, right? All the big boys, right? You could be in one of ours, and you're going to need anything maybe from 1.5 to nearly 3 billion or more resources saved up. And that's because of how competitive we are. But if you're in a lot lower seed empire or era, or maybe your empire you're in is a newer one and it's got less activity because people have been quitting, and you're one of the only veterans in the vanguard that's still playing around, there's going to be less competition, meaning you need to use less resources to get there, right? But one thing that you do need to be careful of is speed ups. Speed ups is very, very important in these events because, as you may notice, there's one speed up that I save the most because it is the one event where it matters the most, and it's trading. When you are going to go for Mightiest Governor Event, I am going to tell you right now, having anything from 300 to 600 days could be a soft spot for most players in lower bracket areas, right? If you're in a more medium to higher bracket, anything from, again, 500 days going to 1,000 plus days is where you want to be at. And this is because trading day just decides the Mightiest Governor. It really does. And you're going to notice that in a moment when we break it down. So when it comes to the speed ups and resources, my best bet for you is always make sure you have as many training speed ups as possible. And the thing is, when it comes to universals, building, and research speed ups, if you have anything from, let's say, 300 to 400 days saved up from events, you've got quite a lot of speed ups to do either the all-in method or, again, the staggered method. It depends on what you want to do. Forging, it doesn't really matter. You could do as much forging as you want. As you'll notice, it's not going to do too much on there, but forging it is what it is. But training is the big one for that, right? So now we kind of know this. We've got some kind of, okay, Sneakyy, I get what we need. Let's talk about the Mightiest Governor Event and why it's set up in this way. Because day one is Tribal Raid Day. And in Tribal Raid Day, as you'll notice, these are the points for killing tribes. It's just not high, right? It's 300 for killing level 29 or level 30. And as you guessed it, you're going to be killing only level 30s to get the maximum XP and obviously maintaining the 300 points as well. You need to spend a ridiculous amount. Just to put it in perspective, I have got 33,840 points here. I have been able to only kill these level 9s. You can do the division, and that tells you how many tribes I have killed. But in stamina cost so far, it's around 500 stamina that I have consumed in order to get those points. When you go into the rankings, you can see people at 173k. This is normally the top end of stage 1. And the thing is, around 150 to 200,000 might be the highest that you may see. But here is the honest to goddamn truth. Tribal Raid Day means nothing. It means fuck all, because it's so little points. It honestly just doesn't make a much big impact. It really doesn't. But it is a good day to kind of get all your maybe CP or your stamina used up, so you can kind of, you know, focus on other things in the future. And it does kind of get you, you know, a bunch of XP ready for your hero that you're going to get in a moment, right? So that's not too bad. Day 2 is where things slowly get a little bit better because you got your hero growth day. And a hero growth day, you could do quite a lot of cool little tips and tricks here, especially the later in the game you get. So here you exclusively unlock legendary hero medals or skill scrolls or gear, right? So if you craft gear or use medals or skill scrolls on heroes, you're going to get points. One of the best things to do, as you guessed it, is universal legendary hero medals. And you're probably wondering, how is that going to be one of the best things to do as a free-to-play player? Well, as you enter the later stages, after you've played a couple of Stellar Glory seasons, you'll enter the Stellar Dynasty season, like myself and other errors out there. And when you're in the Stellar Dynasty season, you will enter what we call the extra, you know, island conquest. The thing is, when you complete these, as you notice, I'm getting 11 of these tavern recruitments. And in the past, I was getting 11 and then 11 and 11, and then I got 10 and 10 and 10. And basically what you'll notice is every 50 levels you're going to be generating anything from 200 all up to 500 tavern pulls in the legendary recruitment. And that's huge because you can be saving all of those medals for the heroes that you don't need and you don't use at all, and you can use it for day 2, because as you'll notice, I've been able to 5-star Weiss and Shin, right? If you scroll a little bit further down, we've been able to 5-star, as you'll see, nearly Guan Yu. Today, I've had over 80 medals used, right? Tokugawa, another 80 medals. If you go to Totiyome, another 80 medals. Harold, over 120 medals for Harold. And then Hammurabi had another 80 medals. And that's not including the other heroes like Oda that we've been able to unlock, or Henry, or YSG, or Seong, right? So there's a lot of heroes that you're going to be able to actually unlock in the Stellar Dynasty seasons as you push through the quests. And if you save their medals, it's saving of those medals that's going to actually give you a truck ton of points in the hero growth stage, because you are going to be using quite a lot of them in there. So definitely save it for this day. This also helps with the epics as well. It honestly all adds up. But the next really cool thing you can do is to do with gear. On day 2, what you can actually do, and it's a very clever point efficient way of doing it, is going into your forgery and actually only forging the random blueprints. Random blueprints are 500 a pop, and you'll be surprised on average how often you will see legendaries. And the thing is, even if you see 1 in 6, that is the exact same as paying for a legendary blueprint. It really is. It's 3,000, divide that by 500, it's 6, right? So because of that, sometimes you might get a bad roll, but you'll notice in the next set, you might get good rolls. And the funny thing is, paying only 500 to hit legendary gear or epic gear is very, very point efficient for your Mightiest Governor event. Because as you go to the points again, what you'll notice on here, you're going to get either 5,000 points or 30,000 points. And that's a lot. 5 times the amount from rare is quite good. And then obviously 5 times, only 6 times the amount for legendary is even huge. And only paying 500 meteorite and able to do this will generate you a ton of extra points. So on day 2, a person can honestly earn anything from 2 to 5 to even 8 million points, depending on how many medals you've actually saved up using the Stellar Dynasty Store tavern trick that I've talked about, and actually crafting a load of gear for your actual formations that you're going to be needing. The skill scrolls, obviously, if you've got them, use them, but it's not really going to break the bank. It's just, it is what it is. But the medals is a really good way to do it as of F2P. Now, day 3 is a really good day. Because one thing on day 3, it allows you to prepare. Because the way this system works is if you spin, obviously you get 1,000 points. But if you gather any of the 1 resources in the game, you get 1 point. But the thing is, it only registers this when your marchers come to the castle. So what you're able to do on days 1 and days 2, as you probably guessed it, is send out your formations, 3 to 5 formations if possible, and what you're able to do is fully farm them. And the way you can do this is actually quite easy. So if we just jump out here, and I just grab a tile like this one, and hit gather, what you do is select your formation, and instead of auto quantity, you want to untick that, so you get the full march. This means I'm going to get 22.1 million load. And as you guessed it, it's 1-to-1 ratio. So that means I'm going to get 22.1 million points once this guy is fully loaded up. The actual trick, though, is to make sure auto return is also ticked off. If you tick this off, as you read, if you would finish a resource gathering point, so one of these tiles, your march doesn't march home. It will stand still. And that's what you need it to do. you need it to stand still. So then when you log back in an hour, 2, 3, 4, whatever hours it's going to be, depending on what you farmed, you're going to be able to obviously keep that resource. The only thing is, when you go for the auto return mechanic, it doesn't work for your alliance gathering center. So if your alliance gathering center is about to finish, hopefully your alliance pings the Discord or someone to let you know, so then you can log in and stop your march from obviously coming home, because that's a really good way to, again, get a load of resources without having to worry about it. But that is what you're able to do. So you just think about it. If you go into the Mightiest Governor event now and you spend 2, maybe 3 days getting, you know, all of your formations fully kitted out, you got to think 24 million times 5. It's a lot of resources, 120 million, right? It's quite a lot of points. It adds up, right? So you're able to actually get quite a lot done in this gathering resources, and you'll notice that other people that have done it versus the guys who haven't done it, right? And this will be your first, what I would call, buffer that you're actually able to put on your account. Then is day 4. And day 4 is a very important day, because on day 4, for you as a free-to-play and low spender, this is when you're going to be spending as many of those building and research speed-ups that we talked about. So if you've got anything from 2, 3, 4, maybe 500 days saved up of these speed-ups, this is when you're going to be using them, because you're going to get 30 points per 1 minute, which is very good point conversion. If you compare this to day 6 here, or day 7, you only get for 1 point of power, you only get 3. So you can literally almost do this 1-to-1 ratio and see how much better this is. It's literally 10 times better. So it is better to use this. And what you'll notice as well, because you're using minutes, there's a lot more minutes than there is in power. So you're actually going to get a lot more points for this race against time day. So today, use this day for research and building for your account. When it comes to everything else on here, I'm going to be honest, it's up to you. If you want to do it on this day, it won't make too much of a difference. It's 20,000 to upgrade, obviously the big cost for your rings, but for your legendary and epic rings, it's 1,000 or 3,000 points. So it's just not a lot. It kind of feels a little bit more like the tribal part, so you'll notice it's not too much, but it does add up, and it does help technically in the long scheme of things. Now, Mightiest Governor Event, day 5. This is the most important day in the entire camp, because this is where you win or lose potentially your reward. Because depending on how many you train is how many points you're able to get. And there's 2 ways of doing this. You can hard train your troops. So if you want to train just T7 units, you can train T7 units. That's what you do. You train the highest that you can do. However, if you're a free-to-play, if you're a lower spender in this game, you can do things a little bit differently and get away with it, especially if you're a good player and actually pay attention in game. One thing that you can do, especially at the very bottom, is promoting units obtains the points based on the result of the level gap. So what that means is, if you train a T6 unit and promote into a T7 unit, what you'll notice is this goes from 50 to 100. So you actually get 50 points for doing that. And this actually matters. So if we kind of go into here and train some troops, just so you can kind of see where we're going to go with this. If I wanted to train even one, let's just say one, right? T unit here, right? 1. It's 15 seconds, 88 to 80, and 340, right? If we go to the next tier and we do the exact same thing, it's 470, 110, 110, 110 in 26 seconds. It's almost double, right? And especially now, if we go to the T7 unit and repeat this at 1 unit, we're at 45 seconds almost, 46. And this is, again, this is my timer. Your timers will be a little bit different, but you'll notice the exact same thing. But then the cost is 650, 150 for all the others, right? And what you'll notice is, just from here to here, you've almost 3 times the cost. And the funny thing is, this repeats the same even from tier 1. And what you're trying to do is pretty simple. instead of just training, you know, certain one units, what you can do is actually train passively T5 units or T6 units. And if you train T5 or T6 units, as you can see, I can train in 13 hours, I can train 3,000 of these units. So that means basically almost in one day, almost, it just kind of be in a day and a couple of hours, I can train over 6,500 of these units. Same with these guys. In 2 days and 2 minutes, I can train over 6,500 of these guys, right? And that matters because for T7, it's over 1 day and 18 hours. So just think, it's 18 hours cheaper to get there. And when you train those troops passively and you don't use any speed ups, you as a player have basically trained up to like 60, 70, like 80% of the cost of the unit. So when you go to promote that unit now, you honestly don't spend that many speed ups. You actually save yourself quite a lot of time and a lot of speed ups because you have passively trained T6 units, and then with your speed ups, you've pushed them to T7 or T8 units and obviously gained 50 to 100 points per one. And what you'll notice is you're going to be able to train more troops than anyone else if you do it in this way, because you're going to have the promotion. And then once you run out of promoted units, yeah, you're going to have to train just T7s and T7s and T7s only. But at least you've got that bit of extra, efficiency and mid-maxing to get more out of your speed ups over time, because you prepared your account with this buffer of T6 or T5 units. So D5 is super important because promoting of units or hard training units is the way to go. And before anyone asks, no, it's not worth it to do it with T4, 3, 2, or 1. It's only good at T5 or 6. These are the two that people like. T6 being the better one typically for T7 and T8 promotes, but that is the way I would recommend. And if you, again, 500, 600, 700 days of speed ups, that's going to be what you're going to be wanting for more competitive servers. If you're in a lower, power server, this is different, right? And you can actually see this by going, in your Mightiest Governor events, you should be going to the overall stage and seeing what people points look like at the end of the very first and second Mightiest Governor event. And you can kind of see where people are at, and it honestly will help you massively on how much speed ups that you need to obviously dedicate to this, right? To finish it off, after day 5, you got day 6 and day 7. And day 6 and day 7 is where you as a player have kind of two things to worry about. If you are in ranks, obviously 50, 49, and 48, you need to be a little bit worried because people can maybe still overtake you from the 51, 52, 53, 54 spots, right? So in this day, what people tend to do for the points, and it's not good, but what people tend to do is try to push a bit more tech, because tech gives you double the points compared to construction or training troops. And the thing is, training, one power of troop for free just isn't worth it compared to obviously day 5 where it is. Same with the others. So the only thing you want to do here, if you're able to, is do a bit of tech. And the only reason you're doing a little bit of tech on day 6 here is because someone's threatening your position. If you're in a much comfortable position, you know what I mean? Say you're hunting for the top 25 and you're in like rank 12, you're probably safe. I'm going to be honest, you are probably safe. You're not going to drop 13 positions in 2 days. You won't. You just won't, right? Because people cannot train that much and waste speed ups for doing that, right? So these are your 2 days where you're going to try and keep an eye on yourself. And especially on stage 7, when you kill all your tribes, you do your gathering again, and then finally watching your research. And here, this is just the last bit you can do. So as you may have noticed on your Mightiest, Governor event, it's set up so your day 1, 2, and 3 gives you a little bit of a buffer depending on how prepared you really are. Day 4 gives you your first major big push to give you a little bit of a gap to see where other people are. And honestly, day 4 gives you a good inclination on how much speed ups people are willing to use on this day. But then speed 5, this is where big day matters. This is when you will win, when you'll lose the event. Days 6, day 7 is you basically buffering and keeping that locked in position that you've been able to obtain on there. And the cool thing is with the Mightiest Governor event now, since we've gone over this, is the way the actual reward system works. Because a lot of people watch my videos and be like, I'm free to play, I'm low spender, I'm never going to get that hero for my account. Well, the thing is, if you prepare, if you save up, if you obviously target a good Mightiest Governor event, I've had to do it in the past for Ramcam in competitive servers and stuff. One thing what you'll notice is with these chests is they come back with the other heroes. So even though we're in season 7 right now and I can get Confucius, if I wanted to earn William or QSH or Elizabeth or Ramesses or Ramcam or Ashoka, I'm able to do that. So just think, you might be in season 3, for example, you might be trying to earn that Ramesses for your account, right? But it's too competitive. It's season 3. So why not wait till season 4, maybe season 5, when there's going to be less people that I might want to go for an Elizabeth or a QSH, because all the big spenders, as you can imagine, in your server have already got the Ramesses, and maybe people just don't want to go for those other heroes, so there's less competition there. So timing and understanding this is kind of important, because it just means you can prepare, save up your resources, and go for the heroes you want to go for when the time is right. And just remember, even if you missed them in that first season, they're coming again second season and the next season and the next season. It's just, you know, newer heroes will be added in there. So just remember that. And on top of this, just to kind of give a bit more love, if you're a free-to-play player and low spender, I would always try to get in the top 100. I know it sounds crazy, but always get to the top 100. Because depending on what formation you're playing, if you're playing even like Lubu, you can get a Rani from this. And if you get Rani from this, it's going to definitely help your formation. If you run Lubu, you know, Attila and Rani, maybe until you get Guan Yu to like 3 stars, and then you can run a 3-star Guan Yu. But maybe if you get a 3-star Rani, run that over him, right? Because she can give you super explosive ability for that Lubu. But let's say you're going down the Sun Tzu route. You got Theodora. If you're going down Cyrus, there's Barbarossa. Maybe you are a bit spicy and you're going down the Hannibal route. You got Justinian, right? So the thing is, these hero pools do expand, and you're going to get even some decent heroes in the bottom ones, right? And just think, you can get 15 to 20 sculptures, and that starts to increase even higher, obviously, the higher you go up. So just remember, in a Mightiest Governor event, you can get access to these heroes that will help your account, especially if you're running Cyrus, Mansa, Barb. Bro, that is a prime way of unlocking it, completely free, with a bit of resources, a bit of planning, and obviously usage of your speed ups. So there you go. That is the Mightiest Governor event. Hopefully up to date for you guys, 2026. Hopefully I've explained it the best I can. If you've got any questions, you can comment down below. Obviously, I'm happy to help. But just remember, when it comes to speed ups and resources, it is dependent on your server that you're playing on. I can't dictate how competitive your guys' are, because it's always going to change. Sometimes it can be cheaper, sometimes it can be more expensive with that. So now, with that said, smash like, comment, and subscribe. Until my next video, guys, stay safe, stay sneaky. Peace out.